Today's meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners will now come to order. Today's date is April 17th, 2023. The time is 6 p.m. at the West Tennessee Research and Education Center, 605 Airways Boulevard, Seminar Room 150, Jackson, Tennessee, 38305. Jeff, do you have the invitation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have Zach Fitzgerald, who is here with us tonight. Zach is employed by the Madison County Sheriff's Office. He's married to Laurel since November the 13th of 2022. He serves as assistant basketball coach for Lexington High School and attends First Baptist Church, where he also teaches Sunday school. Welcome, Zach Fitzgerald.
Good evening. Commissioner Wall asked if I would share something quick and then open up the prayer. And I want to thank him for that. We do national anthem or
No,
okay. So I was just kind of thinking real quick, if we were to roll back the clock about 2,000 some odd years to where we are right now, Jesus would have been living among the people after he had risen from the dead. He would be eating and drinking with them to show that he was in fact human, not a ghost among them. He would be calling Peter out and saying, "Do you love me?" and asking him 3 times because Peter had just denied him 3 times. Jesus would have been doing all of these things with his disciples and with the people that followed him. And one thing that Jesus did was he said, "If you love me, go to the nations and tell them about me. Baptize them in my name," and we know that is the Great Commission. And so tonight, I just want to remind you of the Great Commission. I'm standing in front of elected officials of all different ranks. And Jesus has called you not only to go into our town, but into your jobs and into your families, into your friends, and say, "Look, Jesus is the best thing that's ever happened to me." Because I can say that. On August 26, 2017, Jesus called me out of my grave. I've had a lot of highs in my life. I've played in state championships. I've played in national tournaments. I've married the woman of my dreams. I've done all these things. I've got my dream job. But you can take all that and throw it away because Jesus is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And if you're a Christian in here today, you should be able to say the same thing. And so let me remind you of the Great Commission. Go into all the nations. Take out the word nation. Go into all of your jobs. Go to your families. Go to your friends. And tell them about Jesus. I had a friend ask me one time, and it stuck with me, and I'm going to leave you with this. He said, "Zach, when you die and go to heaven, who is going to hug your neck and say, 'Thank you for telling me about Jesus'?" Let's pray. Father, thank you for this night. God, I thank you for these people that are in this room, and God, and everything they represent. Father, I pray that you be with the decisions that are made in this room. God, I pray that you'll be with each and every person in here. Father, you have called us to be leaders in our community, and Father, I pray that we lead as we follow you. It's in your Son's name that I pray. Amen.
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 Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Abernathy. Aday. Here. Alexander. Here. Arnold. Here. Black.
Present.
Bond.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Brian Cindy. Brian Mike.
Here.
Ellison. Excuse me. Deaton. Ellison.
Here.
Godwin.
Here.
Hill.
Yes.
Hall.
Here.
Hicks.
Present.
Johnson. Here. Jones.
Present.
Martin.
Here.
Mercer.
Here.
Montague. Neoff.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Tippett.
Here.
Wall.
Here.
Watson.
Here.
22 present, Mr. Chairman. We have 22 present. We have a quorum. What about the minutes? We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Brown made the motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have any presentations?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the time. I want to recognize somebody we have new in the room today, Mr. T.J. King. is our new Juvenile Court Services Director. TJ is from Selmer, Tennessee, but he's been here a whole lot longer than there. So we're going to claim him up here in Jackson. But TJ was chosen by the Personnel Committee from a pool of very, very highly qualified applicants to run our Juvenile Court Services Department and the juvenile jail over there. So very excited about him. We'll be hearing more about him and his full bio at a later time. We'll get a press release out about that and a blast out about that. But we're very proud of TJ, and we appreciate our Sheriff's Department giving him this for a little while. So welcome, TJ. I have one more proclamation I'd like to read. If Ms. Harris from the library can come down front with me, please. This week is National Library Week, and so we're going to proclaim this and give some appreciation to our library and our library staff for what they do. So if y'all wouldn't mind coming on down. Yeah, great. Yeah. And our very own Liberty Abernathy is a board member as well. So proclamation reads as follows. Whereas libraries provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to live their best life. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equality of access for all. And whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships. And whereas libraries played a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and share community goals. And whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now therefore, we, A.J. Massey, Mayor of Madison County, Tennessee, and Scott Conger, Mayor of the City of Jackson, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the week of April 23rd to 29th, 2023 as National Library Week.
I left you a brochure on your, at your seats that have a bunch of the programs and things at the library that I wanted you to know about. And we're very excited that this Friday, our first batch of students that are going to use their student IDs as library cards. And that starts this Friday. We're going to have a kickoff of that. We're very excited.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Thank you so much.
Is that all now, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Announcements from the chairman. There is none. Announcements from the school superintendent. Thank you. Item 6, progress report on jail.
So today we started the first phase. We transferred the first 50 inmates into the new complex. We've got the kitchen open, the booking open, the laundry's open. So we're in the first beginning phases of getting the new jail open. So it's a long time coming. I appreciate everybody's support, and we're making progress.
Thank you, Sheriff. Report from the Jackson Chamber.
I'm Kyle Spurgeon, President of the Chamber. First thing, I may be making your jobs a little bit harder. I'm going to introduce another Kyle who's at the Chamber. This is Dr. Kyle Barron. He has joined us as Chief Community Development Officer. He's been on board about a month now. You'll start seeing his face at all these meetings. He will be handling everything in the public affairs side, plus working on community development projects, which all of you know, we've talked to you before about how important that is as we grow Jackson. One thing he's not going to do is what the previous person in this job did, the play-by-play that you saw on social media. If y'all want that, you're going to have to invite that other guy to come back. I agree with Kyle, we wouldn't do that. So Kyle, if you'd like to say just a couple words.
Yeah, I'll always try to be brief and but informative. We look forward to getting to know all of you and meeting you. So I'm very excited to be joining.
Kyle's been in Jackson about 2 years. Came here from Bowling Green, grew up in Texas. Has been out at Jackson State as their VP of Student Development. So we're happy to have him on board. A few things I'll talk about. Project activity continues to be extremely high. Mentioned this before, but keep in mind the type projects we're recruiting are high CapEx, high capital expenditures, lower employment count, and then higher average wage. So when you see projects announced, know that that's what we're targeting, those type projects. For us to continue to grow in this community, there's several things that continue to be important, and in no necessary order. Child care, we have got to do more in this community to provide child care opportunities. A lot of that is already happening. Housing, when you see projects come before you that would stand up more homes in this community, we've got to have it. The housing study that was reported on shows that this Madison County is grown by 13,000 people by 2035. As of today, we don't have the housing side to come close to that. So you're going to see a lot of projects there on the housing side, and then as always, public schools. The companies that we are recruiting are engaging with our public schools, and that has not been the case in the past. Georgia Pacific already, and then other companies who are looking at Jackson have already been engaged with our public school system. So keep doing what you're doing and support our public schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Report from Lori Nunnery with the Jackson-Madison County, Tennessee Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. No one has ever accused me of being brief, so I won't even try to fake it. What I need you guys to know is tourism continues to grow in this area. We're up, I believe, 40% over last year. We had an atypical February, which just blew the numbers out. We'll see that kind of level off, but we're still projected about 10%, aggressively 10% as far as tourism is considered. We have 6 hotels in development phases, various stages of development, and that's in addition to the Great Wolf Lodge, which would be an additional 400 rooms. So projects are going very well. We still have a desperate need for product development, as we talk about at every county commission meeting. We need people that are starting tourism-related businesses. Think about when you travel and what kids and grandkids are looking for. That's what we need to develop here, because we will have the hotel rooms. We need the activities to keep them busy. So we talked about that. You know about our 2 new employees that we have on board. Hopefully I won't run them off. Hopefully we'll be able to, no, I'm kidding. Beth Bolton and Sarah Cummings are working with us, and we're very excited with Beth's long-standing history in the hospitality and tourism field. We're very thrilled to have her on board. She has been a great addition, and Sarah as well. Things that are coming up in our future, we've already submitted our budget proposal to the county and to the city. We are looking, as we try to bring in more dollars, we're concentrating that money only on marketing dollars. It's not about adding staff or anything. It's about the marketing dollars. We'll absorb new staff on our payroll, but whenever we come to you for funding, please know that it's going straight towards marketing. Most of that marketing, if not all of that marketing, is done in out-of-state regions. So we are attracting, we align ourselves with the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, and our additional dollars will go towards mirroring them and hitting those markets. The other thing that we continue to see a great increase on is relocation. Our office gets calls daily about people wanting to move here and information on them. So there's a lot of things that are coming down the pipeline that are changing how our office functions, and we're excited for that future, and we're positioned well, and we just appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right, item 9, report from our finance director, Ms. Bell.
Good evening. I have a fund balance up here for you on the general fund right now. We're at $15.3 million, which is the percentage of 39.55%. We've done real well this year on very few budget amendments on drawing on the fund balance. Our year-to-date sales tax is tracking 8.17% above where it was last year. On May the 3rd, I would invite and encourage all of you to attend a joint meeting between the Budget Committee and the Capital Committee. We're going to have a presentation by Stevens Incorporated on our debt. There'll be things about inflation, where we are as a county compared to other counties our size, what is our borrowing power, where we currently stand. Our principal balance at this time on our debt service is $113,087,194. So I would encourage you, that meeting's at 10 a.m. to be there, because it'll give us a chance to ask questions, and he will have answers for a lot of things that we've been discussing with our county. Many of you have also asked how much we're paying off in our current debt. This year for FY23, by June 30th, we'll be paying off $13.4 million. I cannot close out this presentation without giving great thanks to the Budget Committee for their work last week. We traveled around the county to various departments every single day. The Commissioners Andy Hall, Commissioner Carl Alexander, Commissioner Joey Hale, as well as two private citizens, Greg Parsons from First Bank and Marcus Love, and they did a great job in the preliminary, and I want to give thanks to them for their assistance with the Finance Department.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 10, report from county officials standing in special committees, any old business and any action thereon by the board.
Mr. Chairman, we have from the excess resale, we've got 9 properties this month to approve. These are all committee recommendations. 164 Arlington Avenue from Kiana Brown, $750.
No second required since this came from the committee recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
604 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, Nikisha Joy, $2,200.
No second required since this is a committee recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
817 East, let's see. 817 East Lafayette, Nikisha Joy, $1,500.
Recommendation from the committee, no second required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
305 Hatton, Kiana Brown, $3,100.
No second required since this came from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
402 Hatton, Nikisha Joy, $1,500.
No second required since this is a recommendation of the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
108 Logan Street, Dennis Harris, $800.
No second required since this came as a recommendation from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
122 Mobile, Dennis Harris, $2,000.
No second required since this came from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
204 Mobile, Dennis Harris, $2,000.
No second required since this came from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
322 Roland, Kiana Brown, $3,700.
No second required since this came from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Any other committee reports?
Mr. Chairman, the Ag Committee met and made a motion to hire Aaron Harville as an extension agent in 4-H for youth development, and it was voted on by the committee and passed.
All right, you all heard the recommendation from the Ag Committee.
You don't have to vote on that.
Okay.
That
He
committee.
says we don't need to vote on this, that this is up to y'all.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
the
sir.
Conservation Board has voted to add Ms. Lila Montgomery to the vacant seat on the Conservation Board. You should have a copy of her resume in your packet. The Conservation Board presents this as a committee recommendation.
All right, was this out long enough?
Right, conservation, you don't have to vote on conservation.
Okay, he says we don't have to vote on it. All right. Any other committee reports?
Yes, sir. The Personnel Committee met and took up a couple different items from our insurance broker, Mr. Orma Smith, with Canopy Nation presented to us the renewal insurance costs. As we know, Personnel Committee's been taking up the insurance for personnel and the issues that arise from it. So the recommendation comes from, the first recommendation is the renewal for administrative services agreement with Blue Cross. It's an increased cost of $5,916. Renewing the reinsurance at the increased cost of $150,662. and increased the contribution to the claims fund in the amount of $240,000 for the next fiscal year. This total renewal increase is just under $400,000 at $396,578, and that comes as a committee recommendation.
All right, you've heard the committee recommendation. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make an amendment to that recommendation that we table it until after capital and personnel and budget have all met again.
All right, you heard this. Is there a second that this be
I'd
tabled?
like to second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second that this be tabled until
After we can,
you budget committee.
after the budget, personnel and
Okay.
capital can all meet.
All right,
That, I would support that effort. I think this part of the total picture, the total increased costs that are gonna go up around surrounding, not more than just insurance and the personnel, that take on, their own costs. There was no change to dental or vision. There's one other recommendation, but I would support the motion to table.
all right, y'all, you've heard the motion to table. There's a second. Any other comments? Well, there's, can be none with the motion. All those in favor of tabling, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Very good. One was to renew the contract for the diabetic management program. It's an increased cost of $638 per participant, for a total of $2,000 per participant for the next fiscal year. It's a extremely well-run program and a great benefit for those employees that have diabetes, as an opportunity for them. It's a minor increase in cost for the benefit they receive, and the committee made the recommendation unanimously.
All right, Commissioner Alexander, how does this play with your, with working into the budget?
Again, we'd like to offer an amendment to table this until after we have a chance to meet.
All right, you've heard the,
I'll make it official, stand up,
the
team.
motion for tabling. Is there a second? We have a second from Commissioner Godwin. All those in favor of tabling say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, any other committee reports? Report from the county mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After the Covenant School shooting a couple weeks ago, that kind of entered the Massey household. Those children were 9 years old. I have a 9-year-old, and I knew one of the moms of one of the victims pretty well. She's from here in Jackson, and so just got my mind thinking, what are we doing in our schools to make sure that our children are protected? I knew a lot being on the school board, but I wanted to go straight to the source and figure that out. So Deputy Mayor Smith and I met with Coach Gilmer and Dr. Catlett and got a good rundown of what our schools are doing to currently protect our children, both from inside threats and outside threats. And so I thought it'd be good and helpful for the community to see that, especially our commissioners. And so Dr. King has allowed these gentlemen to come. So Coach Gilmer, I'm going to yield the floor to you for about 5 to 7 minutes to let us know what's going on with our schools and security.
Thank you, Mayor Massey. I appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Would you come down front so everyone can hear? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Just here. Good.
Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come and share with you some of what we're doing in Jackson-Madison County. And I'm going to tell you, just like I told a reporter that asked me right after the shooting, he said, what new are y'all doing? What did this change with the Nashville shooting? And just, I'm going to give you the same answer. If we had to go back and change a lot after that, then we got serious problems, because this is something that we do every day. Dr. King made it a priority when he came to our district. He said, priority number one is safe and secure schools and everything that encompasses, because, you know, we can't learn when we're running blinds. And we got to protect, and, you know, we always say that we want our children to come home in the same condition, not only our children, but our faculty, our staff, our teachers, and everybody that visits our school. We want them to leave our school and at least as good a shape as they can. You know, if they learn a little bit, that's awesome. But, you know, we can't live with losing one and the injuries and the tragedies. So that's been a priority, I said, of Dr. King. So now, will we look at that and will we look at the findings when they release them and study it to see what we can do to get better? Absolutely. That's a daily process that we do in our district, is evaluate every time we have a situation, what can we do better next time? So just some of the things that we have done since Dr. King has been in the district. We have started with ground zero with our emergency operation plans. We looked at them, we went through it with Homeland Security, with the State Department of Education, Safe Schools, and what we found was that our schools were all over the place with their safety plans. This principal would come in, they would do these tweaks, this principal would come in, do these tweaks, and then we had them anywhere from this thick to 2 pages. So we said we've got to get on the same page, so we're using the same verbiage. So we took a year meeting, and Jason Moore was instrumental with bringing people to the table, all the emergency responders. So we took a whole year to get it right and build our district emergency operation plan. And then we did that last year, and this year all of our schools adopted our district plan and made it fit their own. They're all online, so the Go books are on there. So I really feel good about where we're at. And they're expected yearly by the State Department of Education, Safe Schools, and Homeland Security. And they look at that, and then we do the safety assessments. Every school has to do it. They have to be done by June the 6th this year. A law enforcement officer and an administrator in the building has to go through and pick the template, and they have to evaluate and assess where the school is. Based on that, the State Department takes and gives us recommendations on what we can do to make our schools safer. This year we have really focused on, and it was mandated by the governor in his executive order last summer, single entry ports at school. Part of that single entry port in each school is we have a visitor management system that people must use their IDs, and it checks the national database, all states, and it looks for child sexual predators and alerts the school if someone is when they come in with their ID. Metal detectors we have in all schools. I know that y'all are aware of that because y'all purchased 169 of them for us. Thank you. That was money well spent. We feel like we have averted some disasters and potentially violent things by having those metal detectors in our schools. So again, thank you so much for your contribution on that. Training. Each school has went through active shooter training that aligns with our local law enforcement. So we're all on the same page. We'll know what to expect from them in case a crisis happens. They'll know what to expect from us. Every school has been trained in that, and it's an ongoing process. We've rolled out the first training this year on that, and it's just going to continue. We'll roll out the next phase and the next phase. It's something that we can't do enough of. Then also every school is mandated by the State Department to have X number of drills, not just active shooter drills, but fire drills, earthquake drills, severe weather drills. And again, emergency management has been really essential to helping us carry out some of those drills, and they've been in our schools when we have some of those, so I want to thank them again. School safety is a multidisciplinary effort that takes multidisciplinary departments, and Dr. King has led the charge in that and said it's not just going to be the safety and security team's responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. So the collaboration between the school department is just unheard of from anything that I've ever seen. And again, that goes back to our leadership in Dr. King saying this is our priority. So we're working together, all departments, operations, academics, the social, the behavior, the SPED departments. We all get together and work to help and to make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep all stakeholders as safe as possible. We have purchased a school rider management app this year called Where's My Bus? So parents are able to know when their kids get on the bus. They're able to know when their kid gets off the bus. We have an active roster of everybody on that bus. They have a card they scan. So you'll get a text as a parent that will say, your student got on bus 71 at 6:05 this morning. They arrived at Northeast Middle School at 6:55. Your child got back on the bus at Northeast Middle School at 2:15. They arrived at home at 255. So again, if a parent if a child gets on the wrong bus, we're able to locate them immediately, and it gives us a roster. So that has been a huge thing as far as communication and safety and security for our students. We have an emergency management out that's through Navigate 360, and we're piloting it at one school at this time, which also serves as a alert out that's going to allow us to immediately, if they have a crisis, for the teacher to immediately respond, get it out to school administration, emergency responders, and it does get to emergency responders faster than a 911 system. It cuts out the middleman there. So Jason and I were talking about that today and how we're going to implement that with the emergency responders and through all of our schools. So again, we're piloting that right now in one school. Personnel. In our school systems, we have a combination of different personnels that their task is for safety and security. We have our SROs that are provided with our Sheriff's Department. We have we contract out through MaxGuard for some to cover some schools, and we have our own department. And these gentlemen, Mr. Mooney and Mr. McCullough, are school support safety officers, with Mr. Mooney serving as our school safety and health coordinator. And we have our own team. We have a district safety and security team that we can roll out at any time to go to hotspots. And we have been very active in a lot of different schools depending on what was going on this year. We have school. Yes. Yeah, no, man, go ahead. I can jump right back in.
What's the staffing on those different three?
What's the staffing on those?
The MaxGuard.
The SROs, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but I believe we have 13 SROs.
12 SROs
and Sergeant Young.
One supervisor.
Yeah.
23 schools.
So we do not have full coverage of SROs, as he alluded to. There's no way that you can cover all the schools. So we have some of our school support services officers are manning some of the schools for that. And then we have, I believe we have 4 total of those. And then we contract for 4 Max Guards that give us support in our elementary schools and our PLs or Parkview Prep. That answer your question?
It does.
Very good, thank you. Good question. The newest thing that I feel like we're on the cutting edge of in Tennessee, and a lot of the nation, is Dr. King contacted me about a service grant that was being provided through TOSS, and said, "What do you think about this?" And we looked at it, and it's a threat assessment team through districts and the high schools, to where we're not just being reactive, we're trying to be proactive and identify threats in the school. And we've got training. We've got over 130 district employees along with our SROs that are going through this training. There's hours of it online, and then May the 31st we'll do the online training. And again, we'll have a threat assessment team in every school that basically, when there's a threat comes up, they'll look at that and they'll say, okay, what have we got here? And they'll be trained on what to look for, where to dig at, how to dig, and then if they say, hey, we need to dig a little further, then they'll bring in the district team, which is already active, that we're going in and basically we look at history, we look at reports, we have an interview with the stakeholders that know the student or whoever it may be, but it is mainly for students for us. And we'll go through and we'll make a determination and the question we have to ask is this student on the pathway to violence? And then if the answer is yes, number one, we're going, yes sir, just one second, we're going to get them in, we're going to make our school safe and secure first, and we're going to help that child, get them to help get them off that pathway to violence. Yes, ma'am. Do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Why does JCM High, JCM Middle, and Parkview Learning not have an SRO?
I can't answer that, ma'am. I don't know.
They have security at the school.
Yes, they have security at the school. Parkview Prep is served by a Max Guard.
Max Security, over in the park that's right there, and they're in there, seeing these guys.
Why is it Max Guard versus the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
y'all gonna bring me into this, I'm gonna try to stay, not taking away from their presentation. From my perspective, there needs to be a law enforcement officer in every school, whether it's city, police, or sheriff's department. Of course, it falls on the sheriff's department. Not taking anything away from security. I don't know when it comes to civilians what their training is, what their background, whether they have military or police, how they're trained in active shooter. They definitely don't have the resources if an incident does occur to have those officers respond on scene. You know, with city, the highway patrol, everybody's going to respond. We had an incident several years ago at Liberty, and we had a great response. So that's my perspective. And I think back in June of this year, there's a presentation made to the council about the cost for the additional SROs and how many it would take. And of course, we have some new council folks now. So that may be a presentation that we need to do again. But, you know, Dr. King?
We have to have somebody in the schools. And so if we don't have an SRO, we have to have some type of safety mechanism. And some people train to whatever quality we can train them to make sure students are protected. As Mr. Gilmer said, my #1 priority is student safety. I have a son in the school system. I want him to come back home every day where I drop him off. And I want that for every student in the school system. But when we don't have the resources, we have to use our own and train them to the best of our knowledge, whatever funds that we have to train them.
Yeah, so, you know, when it comes to education, I'm not on the same playing field as Dr. King, but when it comes to policing and security, I've got a different perspective on things. When it comes to, you know, resources we need to have available in our schools.
Commissioner Ellison.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Did I hear you say every school has a metal detector in it?
Yes, sir.
That includes Denmark Elementary?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, and both they have the walk-through scanners and the handheld ones every school. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hicks.
Thank you. Mr. Gibb, appreciate everything that you're doing. The question that I had was based on transportation and when kids get on and off. I know, thank goodness it's not something that happens occurrently, but in a situation where if a rogue parent or an angry parent jumps on the bus, you know, are there certain protocols that have been put in place to protect not only the students, but the bus driver and different other things? And explain that to me, please.
Yes, sir. We did we developed because there wasn't a program offered through the State Department of Pupil Transportation Services that served the purpose of the training to protect. And it's not just through an intruder getting on the bus, but just the whole safety. You know, there's protocols, what to do in storms, what to do in severe weather, but it was really lacking on in an active intruder getting on the bus to harm our kids. So January, we took all our bus drivers through, we developed a program. Sergeant Prather, who is our safety coordinator at the bus shop, we were blessed to find him. He's a retired military, retired state trooper, and retired SRO. And he and I developed this program and trained our bus drivers on what to do in certain circumstances like that. That was the main gist of that training. And it's an ongoing training. But yes, they've all been trained on what to do if someone attacks. And it's scary because they're out there, unless they've got an aide on the bus, they're out there alone. And they're away from the schools. You know, when you're in a school, at least you have other teachers next door in you. So that's something that we have really, and are continuing to find things to help support them as far as having people on the road when they're on the road, people at certain areas of town so we can get to them quicker. So we have a lot of things in place to help get there as quick as we can and for them to communicate to us. So great question. Hope that answered your question.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes. One thing that hadn't been touched on yet, but I can give you a reaction from the public, and I was amazed and really appreciate is the effort that gone through the last couple of years over the schools in turf hardening of the facilities. You have a buffer zone before you come to a point of entry or accessibility. because be it one person or whomever, or the last situation we're talking about, getting to the kids is where the first problem starts. If we can keep somebody who's not about the business of educating, not getting accessibility to the kids. Some of the parents complained about it earlier when they hit the buffer zone because you can't just walk in and you got a waiting area. But the thing is, thank you for thinking about the fact that turf hardening is almost as important as a gun.
Oh, yes, sir, and I appreciate that, and you know, that's one of the things when we do our active shooter training, which is the same training, you know, of course, it's a different level of training that they get, but we're on the same system, the alert training, and you know, when you talk about active shooters, you know, there's basically two things that are going to determine the number of victims, and one is accessibility of targets, putting those layers in between, and number two, how fast the police arrive.
I'm gonna sit down. You also did it at central office. If you notice, when we go to our meetings now, we can't just walk in. I appreciate that.
Mr. Taylor.
You know, last year the school system requested the metal detectors and we supplied those, and I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, the school system's never requested SROs in every school.
I can't.
Commission, that I know of.
I'm not going to request them, that's not my, that would come from someone else if it did, but I'm not here to request anything, but I sure appreciate what y'all did for us with
The question is, do we need them in every school?
Are you asking me?
Well, I'm just asking in general.
I don't think there's any better protection to be able to secure our schools than having a SRO in every building. You know, we've got great people, employees, that if we had SROs in every building, I would still want our team to be able to support, because that way we can move them around and do things with our people more than, you know, SROs, when they're in school, they need to be in the school. And I hope, you know, listening to Governor Lee, what he's saying, that he's looking at putting them in every building or highly trained. I don't know what that means, but absolutely, I think that one of the best things you can do, besides keeping the doors locked and keeping them out, is having trained SROs in the building. Yes, sir. If you're asking me.
Thank you, Chairman. That's what my question was going to be, Mr. Gilmer, is if the governor does push that out to where we're able to put SROs in every school, or is that something you guys plan to do? Or I'm seeing three different entities here, and it would be hard to communicate with that in a chaotic situation. It's hard for three different entities to talk and maneuver as good as one.
I couldn't believe the difficulties that some of our local agencies already have communicating with each other, and absolutely, if we had the opportunity to have SROs in every school, I'd do a cartwheel if I still could.
All right, we appreciate everything. I think we've pretty well covered this. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, I appreciate the opportunity, and thank y'all for all y'all do.
One last question before you leave. Since we're talking about the security people from my chair, if you do a study of that, could you give us some numbers of dollars of what it's going to cost when you if you were to make a recommendation? Because kind of like with the other matters we were discussing, when we order pork, we really want to know how much the pig costs. You know.
Sure. I mean, if you're talking about SROs, that'd be something that I have no clue what one makes.
I think the presentation back in June was adding 18 additional SROs, 1 sergeant, a lieutenant, and Dr. King and I had talked early on when they moved to central office to have a command center with a full-time intel analyst that could distribute information, gather information. You know, even if we had an SRO in every school, I think the school, these guys address things on all these issues that he's talking about that SRO is not going to implement in school policy. So, I mean, that's needed. But just for the presentation, it's around $2 million. Now, Governor Lee is putting some grant money out, and we're waiting to see how much that's going to be per officer and how long the funding is going to be available. But it seems to be a priority with him and his administration.
Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. And for the record, I agree with Sheriff Weiser. I would love to have one in each school. I am going to ask for someone to suspend the rules. We need to take up this litter grant and trash collection grant application. It needs to be in on May the 1st.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion, have a second. All those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We voted to suspend the rules. Do you want to present this and then we'll have a motion?
Present real quickly. Each of you have a copy of this resolution on your place there. This is our Tennessee Department of Transportation litter and trash collecting grant that we've gotten in the past. We just got it on my desk last week, and it has to be back early in May, so we had to take it up today. We were able to get it on the agenda.
All right, do we have a motion?
That's it.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions? Joey made the motion and Wall seconded.
I don't know what's transpired in the last few years to where the litter is as bad as it is in our city and county. I know that the team is, I've seen them out, the city's doing a good job trying to keep up. I don't know what it is, but I support this wholeheartedly, and I'm grateful that we found it in time to where we can apply for this money, because, man, we need it.
All right, all those in favor of this motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. Mayor, it's passed. Anything else? Any amendments or transfers to the general fund, school department, capital projects, highway department, debt services, juvenile court services budget for the fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, we got a total of 18 tonight. First off is these first two are from fund balance. One is the IT data processing. That's to purchase the iPads that the commission approved last month. This just catches the money up to them for a total of $7,020.
All right, we have a motion from the committee, a recommendation from the committee, no second required. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Item 2 is for the election commission to a total of $54,516.33. This would also be from fund balance and contracted services for the move associated with moving the departments between Parkway and Hollywood.
No second required since it's coming from the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Number 3 is the maintenance department. This is insurance recovery refunds. $4,043.20 is for the sale of equipment.
All right, this is a recommendation from the committee, no second required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Chair,
go ahead.
Can I just make a motion, we take 4 through 17 altogether as they are transfers within the department heads' budgets?
All right, you heard the motion. Commissioner Hale, we have a second. All those in favor of taking these together, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
All right, number 4 is excess resale, $350,000. This is the budget additional revenue and expenditures for the excess resale property. Number 5 is sheriff's office, $35,000. Transfer of $35,000 from data processing service line and sheriff's office budget to the commissary line in the jail budget. This does not impact fund balance. 6 is the election commission, $2,064. Money that was appropriated for part-time person who is no longer there. This salary was split up between 3 full-time people for a total of $600 between the 3 of them. It was approved and asked for by the election board. Number 7, election commission, $10,618.79. Pension amount is over by $5,918.79 and projected to need $5,000 for the remainder of the year. Number 8, Parks and Recreation, $12,625. Request to move $12,625 from maintenance and repairs to cover the additional cost in miscellaneous programs. 9 is Juvenile Court Clerk, $4,100. Move funds from full-time clerical personnel to part-time. 10, Health Department, $13,700, transferring from benefits and salary lines to drug and medical supplies and bonus payments. The grant is requiring this transfer. 11, Health Department, tobacco cessation, $1,300, transferring from supply line to employees and dependent insurance line. 12, Health Department, PHEP, $32,000. There's a vacant position. It's the volunteer coordinator. It's been vacant since January 15th, transferring to other supplies and materials. 13, Health Department, School Dental, $8,466, transferring from supply line to overtime pay, local retirement, and part-time personnel. 14, Health Department, STD, $200, transferring from salaries and wages to overtime pay. 15, Health Department, HIV, $100, transferring from salaries and wages to overtime pay. 16, Health Department, HRP, $200, transferring from in-service line to overtime pay. 17, Community Corrections, $9,700. Request to move $5,000 from rentals to cover additional cost and salary supplements.
All right. All who are in favor of all of these, vote aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Got one more.
One more.
One more. This comes out of grants, new funds, Drug Task Force, $70,000. The 26th Judicial Attorney General's Office Drug Task Force grant for $70,000. This grant pays for the director of the Drug Task Force for the 26th Judicial District.
Was this one of the group that we were supposed to be doing together? Okay. This is a recommendation from the committee. No second required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
That is the completion of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right. Item 13, approval for the resolution of Madison County, Tennessee, approving land purchase and sale agreement with the Industrial Development Board of the City of Jackson, Project Revere. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, this was a property committee recommendation as well.
All right, we have a problem. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything here?
Just to summarize the deal, this is for airport site B, A. It's for 50 acres. Contract price is $55,000 an acre. They are getting a $250,000 closing credit, so net to the county is going to be $50,000 an acre, payable over 6 years. Had to get creative with this one. Upfront cost was an issue, so the county would be made whole in year 6 for the purchase of this property. $2.25 million for the purchase of this property.
Yes, sir. Any questions or comments?
Highest land price ever for the county.
I have a comment. I just want to thank past leaders of this body, as well as the chamber and the city, and those of us that have come together. This was, I think we talked about it in Budget Committee. This was something that we started a long time ago, that we're receiving the fruits of our labor now. And so we need to continue in that mindset of doing things and making big decisions on vision, not just reacting to the day. And so we're going to continue to see requests that may make sense today, but not for tomorrow. And so we all need to understand that we can be that same body for our body 30 years from now. So I'm grateful for the work that everyone's put in for this opportunity.
I will make mention, if this passes tonight, the Industrial Development Board is meeting tomorrow to take up the memorandum of understanding of the contract with the company. So the company name will be public tomorrow. You'll see some press releases hit the wire midday tomorrow. The company's actually in town today. So it's a big project. It'll be top 3 projects for our county. And it's a very impressive company that we're going to be proud to have a part of our organization.
All right, all those, is there any other questions or comments? All those who are in, Chief, did you have something? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Item 14, resolution to urge the General Assembly to repeal Chapter 479 of the Private Acts of 1949 and any acts amendatory thereof related to pyrotechnics in Madison County, Tennessee. Yes, Mr.
Chairman, this was a recommendation of the proper committee to approve this.
All right, there. Mr. Clerk, would you call a roll?
Are you ready, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Abernathy?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ade?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Bond?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Bryant? Cindy?
Yes.
Bryant? Mike?
Yay.
Sir?
Yes.
Deaton? He's not here. Ellison?
Yeah.
Godwin? Hill?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Jones?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Mercer?
Yes.
Montague? Nahhoff?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Tippit?
Yes.
Wall?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Chairman, I heard 22 yes and 1 no.
22 yes and 1 no. Item 15, consideration of a resolution to rezone property located on the corner of Harts Bridge Road and Diamond Grove Road from FAR, Forestry, Agricultural, Recreational District to C2, General Commercial Center District, comprising 3 acres more or less.
Good evening. This item was presented to the Madison County Planning Commission. It is in the outer region, and they are recommending approval of it to you. Just to give you a little bit of background, there's an existing store that's non-conforming. It's not zoned commercially, but it's on a very small piece of property. It goes back to the days where we had little country stores, and they popped up all over the county, and it's just kind of a holdover from that time. Now the owner would like to relocate his store across the road and put it on a larger tract of land that would give him a chance to build a new store, offer gas and diesel, and also be able to offer more items than what he does now. So this item was presented to the Madison County Planning Commission, and they did recommend it to you.
All right, questions, comments?
Is there anyone from the district that wants to speak to it, or is this an open hearing or open meeting?
Yes, it's open hearing. The people, will ask for those who are here to support or
Is that happening
oppose
right
it.
now?
Yes. All right.
Do we need a motion on the floor?
Yes, we do.
I
We
think
need the
do.
motion first.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, there's a motion. All right, and a second. Now we'll hear from those who are here to support this. Anyone here that wants to speak? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Rudy Collins. I'm a resident of the community where this is proposed. I know that Mr. Patel has operated a store there for several years. I don't know how many, but I've patronized the store. I feel like I've gotten to know Mr. Patel. He's wanting to build a new facility, support his business, and as a small business owner, I would encourage y'all to give him that opportunity.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else that wants to speak for this? All right, anyone who is here to oppose? Yes, ma'am.
I have lived on the same piece of property since 1971. We moved to the country to enjoy the pleasure of country living. To zone this as a commercial zone put in a building, which I suppose I haven't seen any kind of details of any kind of plan. Sounds to me like it's going to be more of a convenience store. You will start taking our farmland, even though it's not being farmed, it is still farmland. We're sitting in an agricultural building right now to make this decision. The one time you get a piece there that's zoned commercial, that's not going to, you don't know what's going to come in next. You don't move to the country for shopping convenience. 5 Points is located between Henderson and Jackson. Anybody traveling either way, going to and from work, they know the layout of the land, they know what's there, they know what's not there. There has been gas pumps at this facility that Mr. Patel runs now. It's been years since they were there. I fill up before I leave town. I'm just saying, I just don't think that that's the right choice as a citizen, resident of the 5 Points community.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Well, I live adjacent to where she lives, and I just don't feel like the business that's brought in down there at that store benefits our community, because it brings a lot of traffic through there where people race and misbehave at the intersection down there, and I just feel like if they bring something else in there, that it's going to add to that, and that's not the kind of community that we want out there. And we have a petition that we have a lot of people in the community have signed that just don't want this, more of this in our community.
That was submitted on February the 28th, 2013.
How many names do you have?
Sorry, sir.
How many?
We have about 80, but we were told by one of our commissioners to start at the center and go 1.5 miles down each road, which is what we did. And that's what we've got. I don't know if there's another petition, I don't know how many's on there, but I can say that there's not a whole lot more people that live in that area over the number that we have.
We did get those petitions. We got petitions from the residents that were opposed to the store being zoned. We also got a petition of supporters from Mr. Patel, of people that supported his business and wanted it. So we had people on both sides of the issue. For the planning department, this was a spot zoning, so we did not recommend approval of it. But the planning commission did recommend approval of it to you.
Commissioner Black?
Yeah, I was just looking at that contradiction. Planning staff recommended denial.
Yes, sir.
But the zoning commission said, what's your opinion of that?
That's the prerogative. I mean, we make recommendations based on what's good in terms of planning, and based on what the zoning decision that's being made or proposed, the way it matches what's out there. So again, the planning commission can go with our recommendation, or they can go another way.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes, I'd just like to have a little clarification about the, it was stated that gatherings and disturbances is disrupting the community. What kind of disturbances we doing?
We have a lot of traffic at midnight and after midnight. They're ripping roars up and down that neighborhood, people yelling and hollering. And they sell beer down there, alcohol. And I think that that is the majority of the sales that go through that little store. And I just don't feel like that kind of influence benefits our neighborhood out there. And I think if you bring in a beer convenience store and you offer more, you can get more of that revenue. And that's my whole issue right there.
I don't know who was first.
On the petition, how many people was, you said about 80 people in that area. How many people petitioned against? You said
They were the ones against, about 80. The ones that were in favor of Mr.
They were against. The ones for, you said you got two different petitions.
Yes, the ones that were for it was over 100.
So over, that's what I asked.
And Sheila, I would like to say that they come from Chester County. A lot of them did. They're not from our area, but they come up Garland Bottom Road. They stop right there at that store. And the people, when we were out getting our petition, they said, we don't want it here. We spend all summer long doing nothing but going out here and picking up beer cans out of our yard because they've got enough time to pop the top down one and sling it out the window.
Can we put this on hold? Can I make a motion? Are we still talking? If not, I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Commissioner Ellison.
Did you say there was spot zoning?
Yes, sir.
I thought that was prohibited.
Well, it's not recommended.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Been there, haven't we, Commissioner Ellison?
Sir?
We've been there, haven't we?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
The only people that's called me from the district that wanted it was the man putting the store in. I talked to him. Everybody else that's called me is against it. And if the planning staff recommends denial, then they're not for it either.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we will reject this zoning.
Commissioner Brown has made a motion that we reject this.
You've already got a motion. I don't know if the motion to table seconded, but there's a motion pending to approve.
First to table.
But there was a motion to approve first.
I made a motion to accept it, but I'll withdraw my motion after what I've just heard.
All right. The motion to accept has been withdrawn,
And she didn't get a second.
she didn't get a second. Okay.
Motion is be rejected.
We already have a motion that it be rejected.
Did you reject?
I withdrew my motion.
He just.
No, Claudel made a motion to reject. Is there a second? All right, we have a second. All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor of rejecting, we vote yes, don't we?
Yes, to reject.
You vote yes if you vote, voting to reject.
So, just so I'm clear, this is a negative motion. We're gonna vote yes to not do something.
That's the way it's,
So
that's the
repeat
way
the
it was
motion, please,
presented.
because I'm confused.
All those in favor of Commissioner Brown's motion to reject, say,
Oh, so he made a motion to reject. Okay.
all right,
All right.
say aye. Aye. Any of those who are opposed, it's unanimous, it's rejected.
Thank you.
All right, item 16, appointment to fill vacancy for Constable District 5 will not be dealt with until next month. Item 17, appointment of one member to the Jackson Community Redevelopment Agency by the county mayor with CLB approval. 3-year term, Sammy West incumbent.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I would like to reappoint Sammy West.
All right, the mayor has given us Mr. Sammy West to be voted on.
Make a motion for the mayor's recommendation.
We have a motion. Have a second.
I'd just like to add, he's a valued member of that CRA board.
Okay.
Appreciate his service.
All right, any questions or comments? All those in favor of making this appointment, vote aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Item 18, appointment of one member to the West Tennessee Healthcare Board of Trustees by CLB, 5-year term. And the lady who is named here is there by the city. So, Commissioner.
Yeah, as you said, Mr. Chairman, Vicki Birch was actually nominated and appointed by the city. That is incorrect. We do have a name and resume in our packets, Elaine Christian, and I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Elaine Christian to the West Tennessee Healthcare Board of Trustees.
All right. All right. Kevin was on the floor first, so we're going to take his. Is there any other nominees? All right, you've heard the nominee. All those in favor of Ms. Christian, vote aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Election of notaries public.
So moved. So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of electing the notaries public that are listed, say aye. Aye. Item 20, any and all matters related to or connected with matters set forth in items 1 through 19. Is there anything else from any of you?
Move adjourn.
Second, we have a motion for second. All those in favor say aye.